can do it on the TV.
Yeah, you turn it on.
Hello?
No, I turn off the mics. I turn off the mics for us doing this.
So you turned off the mic?
Yeah. But I'm about to turn them on now. Even though this thing says it's reading.
I can't hear anything.
Even though this thing says it's reading. Oh. I guess it's going through. Hey everybody, it's KBR Sports, the best sports talk show of your 24-hour day. I'm your host, Brendan Abbott, with my co-host, Khalid Lewis, and our other co-host is going to be a little bit late to the show today, but yeah, we're bringing you KBR Sports today. How you doing, Khalid?
I'm doing well. Just had a test. I'm kind of scared about it.
Why?
Because I feel like I knew half the test, and the rest I tried to guess. Because when I studied most of it. And then I looked at it, I was like, wow, this wasn't in the notes.
Oh my gosh. That moment where you look at your test and then it doesn't match the study you got at all, I'm guessing.
I was scared.
That's funny. But guys, on today's show, the topics we got slated for today, man, obviously Super Bowl recap, looking over all things that happened in the Super Bowl, just talking about it, talking about the game in itself, talking about the Denver Broncos, great defense, how they pretty much put a whooping on the Panthers offense and just held them the whole game. Then we'll also get into, how good could the Panthers be moving forward? Everybody always says, oh yeah, you'll be back. But I'm pretty sure people said the same thing about, the old Eagles team from back when they lost to the Patriots. And that Eagles team never came back to the Super Bowl. People probably said the same thing about the 49ers when they lost to the Ravens. That team never made it back to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, we'll get into that. But also we'll talk about the Warriors and the Thunder's game, and the Warriors winning that game. Actually, that was a game we actually on here have been talking about for a good while, talking about how we wanted to see what team can actually beat the Warriors, and we wanted to see one of the top teams in the Western Conference actually give the Warriors a run for their money. And we'll get into that also. But and then to finish off, we'll just talk about the biggest story coming out of the Super Bowl 50. Each of our own perspectives and our own individual opinions. But starting off, Super Bowl 50, man. It wasn't as thrilling as last year's Super Bowl.
It wasn't anything I expected.
You said it wasn't anything you expected? Mm-hmm. What did you expect?
I expected the Panthers to score at least twice.
Yeah. You talk about 2 touchdowns?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But that defense was way superior.
Yeah, man. The defense, it was they came to play. That was that, and it was obvious that was what Denver was resting its morals on. It was like, if we're gonna lose from our defense. Like they held the Panthers to 197 yards passing. They had 118 yards rushing total, and total yards they had 315 yards, and the Panthers had 21 first downs on the game.
Yeah.
And I think I saw a stat where they were like 3 for 15 on third down conversion or something like that. Yeah. Like the Broncos weren't giving them anything on third down, so that just shows how great the Broncos defense was, and they forced the Panthers into 4 turnovers. So. And obviously, the Panthers lost 24-10, and the Broncos came out with it, with Von Miller winning the MVP. So, Khalid, start us off with let me know what you thought of the game and what things you took away from watching that Super Bowl game.
The game was nothing that I expected. I did think that the Panthers were going to do a whole lot more, but that defense kind of Broncos defense just elevated. Like, they went to a whole nother level in the Super Bowl. And it is definitely true when they say that defense wins championships, because they held my man's Cam Newton back. Like, he couldn't get anywhere. He couldn't make any good throws. But he made a couple good throws. He didn't make as many as he should. It was my man's got sacked like right in the red zone, which allowed for the defense to score a touchdown. And it was an ugly game for my man's Cam. everybody put their faith in Cam Newton, saying that he was like this was their year, and it's like a Cinderella story because they weren't good last year, so they came back this year, and now they're at the top of the league, at the top of the what you call it, the league, and they just get the defense is just so superiority, and the offense was just looking sleek. The Broncos offense, it wasn't as spectacular as it should have been. The run game was dynamic, as Brandon said last time, and because he did what you call it, who Von Miller scored 2 touchdowns.
No, he got a fumble recovery, I believe. Fumble recovery. He had 2 forced fumbles.
Okay.
On Cam Newton, and he recovered one for a touchdown.
But the rushing game, they got the 2 touchdowns.
It was Williams.
Oh, okay. He got the 2 touchdowns, and then the kicker, he got 9 points. So I felt like Peyton Manning should have been just a little better. I wanted to see him play like at Super Bowl level, but he getting old. We even said that he wasn't gonna be playing like as good as he used to, and he was just looking kind of sluggish. Like even in 3rd down and 4th downs, they had to punt it or kick it because he couldn't complete it. But overall, I like seeing the Broncos defense because they are a great defense. Reminds me a little bit of the old Pittsburgh defense.
All right, let me get to Rashad. Rashad, what do you think about the game and what happened?
Watching the game, I mean everybody knows I picked the Panthers to win.
We all did.
Yeah. But I did say for the Broncos to win, it comes down to that first quarter.
Yeah, he did.
How they played, how they set the tone in that first quarter would dictate who wins this game. And we saw what happened in the first drive of the Broncos putting up 3 points, and then the first drive of the Panthers,
3-0.
That controversial play.
Mm-hmm.
That challenge that they said wasn't a catch. I don't know what a catch is anymore.
Wasn't that catch was,
because think about it. That play, if because Jericho Cotchery caught it and when it took it to their own 40. So even if you get if you have a strip fumble for the rest of that play or for the rest of the time on, it doesn't get recovered for a touchdown.
Right.
And the way the Panthers defense was playing, they weren't giving up any touchdowns, and they didn't give up a touchdown until the 4th quarter.
Right.
So you change the game from being a 10-0 game to being possibly a 6-0 or to staying a 3-0 game. And then when the Panthers scored, they had to leave.
Yeah.
So go on.
So the defense, I mean, in itself, he still made a good play on the ball to make the ruling as it was.
Yeah.
He made it so it's not, and that'll be a catch. But overall, the defense was a lot better than most expected. People didn't think that Broncos line was going to be as terrifying as it was against Cam Newton, because we've seen Cam Newton make plays with his feet more than a lot of other quarterbacks made against the Broncos.
Yeah.
So when you actually saw it happen against them, that's when you're like, oh snap, they're for real.
Yeah.
Like that's what this is where people finally realize how official that defense actually is.
Yeah.
So that defense itself made it a lot easier on Peyton Manning. That's why I don't know if y'all seen some stuff, but people was like, if Peyton Manning rides off this year, he rides off in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Because that's how dominant his defense was.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, I mean, I can't say. I mean, it was a bad game for the Panthers. It was a pretty good game for the Broncos, but there's a lot of stuff going on in that game that could have changed the tide quickly into the Panthers' favor.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I mean, Rashad called it last week when we were here. He said what happens in the first quarter. I mean, that last week when we were talking about the Broncos, y'all were acting like me and Rashad were tripping for talking about Peyton Manning can continue to play, but but we said if you play with the defense like that, you don't have to be the Super Bowl MVP. You can be a player that just rides on the curtails in that defense. Rashad especially said it, that all you got to do is, after that first quarter, you see the tempo of how the game's going. And, the defense made their staple within the first few minutes of the game. And it seems like that's been the theme of the past few Super Bowls, apart from New England and Seattle. But when you go back to 2 years ago with Seattle and Denver, very first play, what happens? Just snap that goes over Peyton Manning's head, and then the defense is just taking over the game for the rest of the time. And it seems like now that you don't want to pick a team doesn't have a top defense anymore. I think what a lot of people were thinking when they picked the Panthers was that, okay, the Broncos have the number one defense, but the Panthers have the number one scoring offense, and then they also have the number 6 ranked defense. So, it kind of balances out. And people felt as though Denver's offense wasn't that good to, be able to combat the Panther defense. And honestly, Denver's offense didn't really do anything on the evening. Apart from that one touchdown, they were limited the whole evening. Their defense, if it wasn't for the defense getting them great field position, if anything, the kicker had more points than almost the Panthers did.
Technically, you think about that touchdown, it was a holding penalty on Josh Norman, which led to the touchdown.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
technically, you still wouldn't have scored that touchdown.
You know what I mean? Like, their offense was struggling the whole game. Like, the Panthers defense showed up. It's just that it seemed like it was a lot of Cam versus everyone else. Like, you see, and the thing is, even though there was I think you can count on one hand how many drop passes. I think there was about 4 or 5 drop passes. It's about the points in the game where the drop passes happen. Like, I think there was a point in time when Jericho Cotchery actually on the sideline had caught a pass and he drops it, and it would have put them right at the goal line. And he drops the pass. There's a 3rd down conversion where they drop a pass, and it's just like you see so many times Cam Newton standing in the pocket and taking these hits. He's getting drilled into the ground, and you're just like,
he even grabbed his shoulder one time.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And you're just sitting there watching it. You're like, man, like, how is anybody gonna give him help? Like,
there was a lot of plays that Cam also blew it too high.
Yeah, he threw it too high. Yeah,
and I mean, he had clean pocket too. I mean, it's not like he was pressure sometimes. Some of them clean passes.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to make that. It's probably just that Super Bowl jitters you got.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Especially in his first drive, he had one that was
wide open. Yeah. I mean, I think it was like the first down play actually of that first drive. Yeah, he did.
You can't miss stuff like that.
Yeah, you can't.
You got to be perfect in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's true because I mean. A lot of people I see, they were talking about his body language wasn't the same from all the past games that they've had. And I mean, your body language isn't going to be the same when you're losing. Mm-hmm. But people are saying that they didn't see the same confidence and swagger coming from Cam that they've seen throughout the whole season. And I mean, I can agree with that to an extent. Because I mean, you do have Super Bowl nerves. No matter what anybody tells you, like you're gonna have Super Bowl nerves. Like that's just a fact of the matter. Like. Rashad's played in a state championship game. I'm pretty sure, Rashad, you felt championship nerves going into that game. And just imagine that was back in high school. Like, imagine the Super Bowl. Like, this is the game for it all. And you have all this criticism people are directing towards, and you know that the season is essentially. I mean, you still had a great season, but it doesn't amount to anything unless you have the Super Bowl ring at the end of the year. And I mean, I'm done picking against the best defense. Every time if the number one defense is going into the Super Bowl, I'm picking the number one defense. That's a fact of the matter because the Broncos had legit 11 first downs. They had 104 yards passing, 90 yards rushing, and they had 194 total yards. Like, they didn't even throw a pass touchdown. Yeah, and that was enough to win the Super Bowl. Like, you know what I mean? Crazy. Like, that just shows that if your defense can get you great field position and they can turn the other team over. The Panthers had 4 turnovers. Yeah, 4 turnovers. So it's like
they control the field.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's normally been what the Panthers have done throughout the season. That's why their offense was the number one scoring offense because they always had good field position. And then nobody could ever stop Cam Newton or Jonathan Stewart from getting to the end zone. But, I mean, this game, you look at it and you see Cam Newton was the leading rusher, and he had 6 rushing attempts. He ran for 45 yards. Jonathan Stewart rushed the ball 12 times and had 29 rushing yards. Whitaker had 4 rushing attempts, 26 yards. And it's like, man, I mean, you saw. I mean, I heard. I think it was Von Miller who said that he's like, man, they haven't changed nothing up. Like they're doing exactly the same stuff they're doing in the regular season. Because everybody expects that when you go into the Super Bowl, you're going to change up a lot of what you do in the offense. But then the Denver Predators were surprised when they saw them come out and do the same exact stuff. And I mean, I felt like they're most of their success with running the ball came when Cam Newton carried the ball, even though it came out of situations where the pocket might have collapsed or something like that. That a lot of their most productive runs came on Cam Newton scrambles or design Cam Newton plays. But I think there was a couple of plays where I saw Cam was trying to take the ball out from Jonathan Stewart, and Jonathan Stewart is like taking it, and like Cam just gives it to him because he doesn't want it to be a fumble. But
actually, I have 2 key plays in that game that shaped the game. First key play was the read option left to Jonathan Stewart where his ankle got twisted, where he became injured. So now he's playing hurt all game. That's first key play. Second key play was the Jordan Love punt return where no one
Oh
touched
man, that was bad.
because they assumed they caught a fair catch.
Yeah, that was bad. That was
So
bad.
those two plays right there, it affected Carolina's offense with Jonathan Stewart being banged up, not running the same.
Mhm.
But I mean, they wasn't getting many yards anyway on their defense, and that punt return gave them points.
Yeah, it
So
did.
technically, those two plays right there, I feel like were huge plays in the game for the Broncos.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. For me, I would just change the first because that punt return was a big play. For me, I would change the play to that challenge, that no call, because that challenge to me was just that's like, because that's what set the tone of the rest of the game. And then it leads to that strip fumble by Von Miller, and it gets the touchdown, and that puts them up 10-0. To me, that's such a big thing. Like, and I heard that one of the refs, like, you know how they have those refs that comment during the game saying, "Oh yeah, this is what the ruling should be because he had his hand under the ball and never touched the ground." But then you see them. He said that one of the refs said that. But then you got the other refs that will all of a sudden, once they see the refs on the field and make the call, they'd be like, "Oh well, it possibly could have been this and that." No, before the call, you said that he had his hand under the ball. Like, I don't even know what a catch is anymore. Like, it's honestly, like, you don't know what the catch is. Des Bryant lunges for the end zone. They rule that not a catch. And even though he made a football motion and they call it not a catch, they call Megatron's thing not a catch. Like, I don't know what a catch is anymore. Like, the NFL needs to like get a dictionary definition of what a catch is. Like, if I look at Webster right now,
big games too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? These are all big games that that you can't mess up on a call like that. Like, from the dictionary definition, from what everybody's been taught, Jericho Cotry's catch or Jericho Cotry's play was a catch. But I mean, and it sucks when you know that they have review to look at it from the challenge. Yeah, you know what I mean? And then when you don't reverse that call, I mean, I don't care what ref tells me, whatever, you can give me whatever explanation, I will believe that was a catch. The dude had his hand under the ball when he went to the ground. He didn't use the ground to help him maintain possession of the catch. He kept possession of the catch throughout him going to the ground. That's a catch. And no, but the thing is, the ball can touch the ground, but the ground can't ail you in making the catch. And the ground didn't help him in making the catch. So that's how I don't understand. But who knows? Who knows? The referees, they see what they see, and we're viewers. That's all we are. We're viewers. We come on the next day, we talk about the game. That's all we can do. We can't go down there and be like, hey. Well, I mean, one thing I also want to see from the game, actually, I want to see what pictures Kevin Durant took, because you know what I mean. Because he was a credentialed photographer at the game, and I'm like, man, did you used to do media photography when you were at Texas?
I'm gonna tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened.
Go ahead.
After you play Golden State,
come on,
Steph Curry told him to get a new job.
Stop,
because he ain't good enough. Told him to get a new job, so he went to photography.
I saw a meme on Twitter where it was like Steph Curry and his wife, and Steph was like, "Hey, babe, ain't that dude I beat last week? I used to come around like this." Yeah.
Oh, man.
I was like, "Come on,
Oh, man.
come on, man." But